All right, let's start. So, as you guys know, I am a full stack developer, formerly working for the government of Canada before as a business solutions developer. A quick rundown, sort of what that position is. My day to day is either I am maintaining code or creating new features and such for internal government operations and staff, or I'm going out there and trying to figure out what's the next thing that my team can do to start pushing positive, impactful activity inside our organization's operations and such. So that would be either figuring out how to optimize staff workflows or particularly impacting the bottom line, and as it being that time value money, if you guys can kind of understand what that would include. But yeah, today we're here to make sort of an introduction to how to make your portfolio and what kind of things need to go into that. So to start things off with, we're going to be building things in Next.js and using Tailwind CSS to make all the styles happen and make it super easy for us, so we don't have to write raw CSS. It's managed for us for all different device sizes, so a phone, tablet, small desktop, or a large desktop. That Tailwind will take care of that for us by default with its basic configurations. So yeah, if you guys don't have Node.js installed, you can go to nodejs.org and install the LTS version of Node.js for whatever platform you choose. So yeah, that will start us off. One of the core things we need to do first of all is use the Node.js package manager to install the create next app sort of scripts that will all configure our base Next.js environment. And if you don't know, Next.js uses React.js, and Next.js just enables React to be rendered on the server side, which we want. That will increase our performance, sending our website to our clients so they don't have to use all that JavaScript initially on the front end. And as well allows us to get SEO. And particularly, one of the core things I look at inside a portfolio is if you're making a static site, it can't be all JavaScript. And what I mean by that is if you take a React app and just slap it there, it's not going to render any HTML. Compared to Next.js, where it will render that HTML on this when you build it. So it all compiles there and you get your nice SEO for your website. So static sites should always be rendered, particularly on the server side, or built into HTML. That's one key thing I need to look at when I access your portfolio. Are you doing things the right way? If you're just showing a React app or a Vue or an Angular app just up there, it doesn't make sense from an engineering perspective. And I need to make sure you're on that right page, so it's less time for me to teach you about these things and these concepts. So we're going to create our Next.js app. So I'm going to actually cd the backup folder, and I'm going to install this. Now I already have it installed, but you guys, it will take a bit for you to install, and once you have it globally with the -g command for npm. Moving from there, we're going to actually create the next app, and it's going to allow us, going to be prompting us with a command line interface that we can set up how we want our project. So I'm just going to call the project portfolio. You call it what you want. Usually you want to call it your specific domain you purchased, so then you know it's specifically that. And if it's a subdomain of whatever, you're going to name it the subdomain as well. as that is installing, I think it's important that we always get this in our heads when we're starting to initialize a actual project that we're going to be making, and that is that we want to always use reference in software development. We want to see what other people are doing out there, so we have a better idea of like what we need for our project, product, solution. So I think a great kind of presentation or what a portfolio site for a B2B stance is fireart.studio. And what they do, they're a agency where they provide front end solutions and graphic design and such for large businesses. One of their partners particularly is Google, and they have many other partners as well that they provide their services to. But what makes FireArt Studio so impactful as a portfolio site? It's nailing down the short form copy that explains what their services are, what they do, and what their thought process is when they go to design a product. Like when we come to the landing page here, we have an instant sort of reference as to what they do, because they say what they do on their initial landing is that they do full cycle product development, product design, branding, motion design, and design outstaffing. So if I'm looking for those things, all right, I already know that they do it. I'm not wasting any of my time to know that. I already know they do this. Okay, put them on a list. They can do this. As we scroll through, and what a landing page usually is that it's them telling a story as well as to what they actually do, what their purpose is. So they automatically say, why choose us? It's literally a mission statement saying why you need us in your life to make your life easier. So they have their title copy that stands out that says, hey, look at me. And then if, okay, you're interested, you're going to follow up to the body paragraph or whatever. So FireArt Studio is a boutique design and software development company. Emphasis words right here, boutique design. They don't just do regular design, they do specialty design. So none of your run-of-the-mill mom and pop website or whatsoever. They only work with specialty clients that need something specifically done. So they already mark themselves as particularly something. And marking yourself as something sort of presents yourself that you know what your mission is, what your goals are, as compared to someone that's scrappy and doesn't understand what particularly they're doing yet. So when I always look at sort of a candidate or someone that sends in a resume with a site, I need to look at what's their mission. What particularly are they going to do with my business? So either specifically they've sent me something saying, here's what I can do for you. They did some kind of report or whatever, or they can hand me a pamphlet or whatever saying, here's what I'm going to do. But a lot of times that comes through on their website and such, that they're stating, hey, I do this. I specialize in this. Here's why you need this. How it will benefit you. I think we can all kind of understand where I'm getting at here. So as FireArt Studio shows, they prioritize agile team of JS programmers. So they focus on JavaScript only programmers for front end. So React, Vue, Angular. And they work in the agile format. That's what they're tailored to. And what else we can see on this landing page is we have a variety of options as to what their services are. So we can say, okay, this is product design, rebranding concepts for WinRAR. And what these are basically are like case studies about what they've done before. What I think every junior developer or aspiring student developer should do is write proper case studies about what you've done before. So if I were just to click view more, super easy too. They don't make it hard to you get to these places. So obviously, okay, what is this about? The project. Again, big words to say, hey, look at this, and then the body if you're interested. We got some mock-ups, so actual images. Images are important. If you don't have something hosted somewhere that you can reference, make sure you have images for it. So they just talk about what their design process is, what went into it, and what were the outcomes. And particularly, you low-level developers can bring it to the next level by doing these types of things, breaking down the projects you worked on before, your work experience before. If you've went and worked for, I don't know, Amazon, what did you do particularly at Amazon? Document stuff that isn't going to get you in legal trouble, because maybe you have some non-disclosure agreements or whatever, but talk about what you can talk about and how you made an impact on the business itself. So time, value, money, or a social impact or whatever. Try to figure out what that is and show that to us as hirers. So either a recruiter or a developer or even a CEO if you're applying for startups, especially for CEOs too, because they want to see that you could do a lot of things, not just development. So yeah, we have this done right here. All right. So we have our next JS package installed. I'm going to open that right here. So here is our base product from the Bootstrap that Next.js had. This public folder here, this is where you're going to put your public assets. Because it's server-side rendered, your assets want to be in this folder, because when you publish, it will all push to public when you build the actual Next.js packet project. This pages folder here, so here's where you're going to put all your site pages. So here we have our index page. There's already a template made for us. This is just basically your landing page for your site. So you can change this right now and it will impact that once we run it. This underscore app.js, this is sort of like a configuration. It acts as a wrapper around your entire app. So each page will have this thrown into it. So see here how we have our styles global CSS linked in here. That's going to link in all of our global styles. So we're going to put Tailwind inside of here so that it works for every page. All right. So we'll bring up the terminal. Let me see. We'll copy here. We're going to install Tailwind inside our Next.js app. With that, we have Tailwind installed for our project. Now, there's a few extra steps that have to go in to getting Tailwind running. It just doesn't run through the node modules. We're going to need to actually build a Tailwind CSS file using a little bit of Tailwind configurations. So if you were to go here on the Tailwind site, where is it? Getting started. Installation. All right, so here we're going to add these Tailwind annotations into a CSS file. Where is this? New file. We're going to call it -setup. CSS. We'll paste those in here, save it. And then we are going to create the actual Tailwind CSS with a script. And then we'll change input CSS to Tailwind setup. And that's going to create an output CSS file in the same directory. All right. And then we'll just name this Tailwind. And in this Tailwind CSS file, it'll be very long. You'll want to do this for development so you have access to everything, but there's scripts in Tailwind you can look up to where it will take all the class styles that you've set inside your project, and it will only use those and remove everything you don't use. So when you build for production, it'll take everything out and only use what you need. And this Tailwind CSS file goes in the styles directory that was generated for us. Now, particularly, we want to go to the underscore app and we want to import that specific file /Tailwind. All right. And we want to npm run dev. That's all set up. If you're not accustomed to how Node.js works particularly, you'll have a package.json file that's generated for you when you use an npm init or you installed, like we did with the CLI for Next.js. And in this, we'll have some scripts JSON right here, and you can modify this how you want. It interfaces, it will be used how you would run in a command line, how you would write the script, and then you can set up like that. So we have this running successfully. We'll open it up. And here is our base Next.js app. And with that, I'm going to actually copy some code directly from Tailwind. If I can find it again. Under components, navigation. Okay, we want to grab this responsive type of header right here. Instead of header, it's actually a navigation, but we'll take that and we'll go into our index file here, and we can post it here, but we have to think like it's React and that this navigation bar is actually a component. So we'll create a components folder. We'll make a new file and we'll call it navigation.js. Const navigation equals, and we'll create that component and we'll return all of this HTML. So all we have to do is call this component to get that, and it cleans up our actual index page file, so we don't have to have all of this in here because it's already quite messy already. So we'll just go in here. I forget. Yeah, this is the wrapper. So here we want to import our navigation. Capitalize that. From /components/navigation. And we put navigation. Now this is going to work particularly because it's going to ask us to export it. So simply down here we're going to do export default navigation. And then if we come back here to the browser, oh, it's exports, I remember, yeah.
I think we misspelled it. Nav. Hi.
Oh, yes. Okay. And then, yeah, it's over there. Is this all done right? Classes. All right. So in React, you can't use class. You need to actually change it to be class name. And React will do some backend magic to clean all of that up for you. So when you actually builds it, where is this? Change all occurrences. Name. All right. All right. Now we have this navigation here, but it doesn't expand the whole thing, the whole screen, which we want. It's just doing this small bit. So for us to do that, we need to come here to our navigation component and simply inside the navigation wrapper element, we're going to just do w-full, I think it is. And that is a Tailwind CSS class that you can access that will change a element to a full size of the screen. And see, it does that. Now, particularly when you build a site, there's always going to be some added browser padding, as you can see slightly here on the sides of the screen. So we want to get rid of that, but I'm pretty sure that is built into Next.js. So you want to go into here on your globals. No, right here, this CSS module. And what we're going to do here is just comment this out. And that will get rid of that padding that we saw, as we see there. Now, obviously it's going to take a lot of time to make this mobile responsive. So we're just going to focus on the desktop here. So we'll get rid of this. In all honesty, we can remove this whole modules, I think. But we'll simply do it here just in case. And will that break our site? Compiled. Oh wait, the module's not included. It's actually in this home. Index. I guess here actually. Styles.container. All right, so that it's going to be mad at that because it's using the module itself. So what we'll do here is we'll just remove everything and just say we're going to take all of this, use this body code, and we're going to take it down to this. Now it's going to error us out because we need to wrap this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, we're going to make a main container for this, because everything in React needs to be wrapped with something. Make it a component. So we'll come in here, we'll just put it in there. Now we go here, we have everything clean. So now, particularly, we want to create sort of sections to our project. Now, with a site, you always want to define it in sections. And particularly in React, in Next.js sense, we can just say, hey, see these components here? Let's make a folder called sections. And then we could create a file called index landing.js. So we'll do something here real quick. Just copy that. And we say index landing. And then we'll just make this a section. So then here, now we go into our project. We just say, we don't need this. Let's import a proper section that makes it super simple for us, and we can organize our code properly. Landing, sections, index landing. Index landing. Index landing. Yep, we have to export it. All right, it's happy for us. This is working. In our index landing, we want to identify, particularly what we want to do in a landing page is we want to have some kind of call to action. Where's the right browser tab? Now, if we go look here, back at Fire Art Studio, we go to their main page. Do they have a call to action? They have kind of a call to action. I think they're missing out on that. They have access to their socials right here. But I think a great representative call to action is particularly like Shopify stores or whatever. So Gymshark.com is built on Shopify.
Yeah, Kyle, I think we lost the screen share.
Let me grab that back for you guys.
Sorry about that.
Full screen share. All right, so I like to take a little bit of reference from call to actions from Shopify store. So Gymshark is a Shopify store. It's one of the higher performing Shopify stores too, globally. And you can kind of get an idea of like what works from that. If they are the top player, you gotta look at particularly what they're doing. So in all honesty, Gymshark isn't doing very much with their site. It's very basic, easy to understand, and it's actually what you want for your website too. You want it to be easy to understand. You don't want all these crazy animations or nothing flashy. So very simple navigation. Like here's what, oh, I'm a male, I'm a female. I'll go to here. I know where I gotta go. Again, small icons that make sense too. So obviously this is an account I'm searching, and this is my shopping cart bag. But the call to action here is quite simple. It just says graphic design, casual cuts, not so classic graphics. It doesn't explain much. I think that's maybe problematic, but it allows you to say, hey, you want graphic design? You could kind of infer you want graphic design on your shirt. You can shop for that right here at this link. It will bring us right to that. So kind of we want a call to action on our initial page. And what a call to action is going to really do for us is say, here's something interesting or something really cool that I'm doing. Go check it out. So maybe you just did a project and you released a case study. So you would just have your case study as the link, and you would say, check out me making this interesting app idea, and then a little bit of subtext to be a little bit more detailed with it, and then the call to action. So we'll do that kind of here too. So using Tailwind, we're going to want to we'll just put this together. We want to search for not this, flex. So we're going to center everything in this div, well, a section. So to apply an initial flex, we're going to just use class name equals flex. And then we want to find it so that we can flex a certain way. So we want to justify the content. Center. Not there. And then we want to align the item center as well. All right, and then we go look over here. We don't have anything. We'll set this BG black for now. And then we're gonna set the height. We'll put it to 8 to see where it is at. So obviously one of the problems are here is that we need to set this actually to the height of the screen. So if I go to Tailwind and I search height, we can come in here and we can get size of the screen actually. So now we have it covering the screen. Now we want to center things here, and that's already done for us. So we'll just make a div, and we'll just say, here we are. We'll make an H1 so it's nice and big for us. And we'll say call to action as a test, and then class name equals we want to set the color to this to white. So text color is what we need. There we are. So text is white. Come over here. All right, we got it centered. Now we want to adjust our font size for this. And then font size. So we can choose how we want to scale this, and what you want to do here is scale it particularly to what size of the device. As when I put my designer hat on, I'm looking for, okay, is things properly scaling and such? If you're a front-end developer, are they scaling to the right size for the right screen or whatever? So that's subtle hints as to, okay, are you on the right page? Do you know what you're doing as a front-end developer? Okay, so we'll grab XL3, put that there. It's a little larger because we're on desktop. Let's bring it to 5, 6. Okay, 6 kind of works. And then underneath, what we want to do here is say some basic copy, and then we'll grab that right here. And say class name equals this. Now we'll go XL1. I'll bring that up to 2. Now we want a button of some sort here. So can we grab a button? Here's one already made for us. Let's bring this into view. All right, so we have this type of button here. We're going to change this back to white, and this is going to be black. Now you guys can come in here and say, oh, I want a background image. I can easily put that in here using some self-done CSS, or you can use Tailwind itself to do that for you. It's up to you how you want to do that for your project. But particularly here, we're not going to worry about images. I think we want padding here of some sort, so we can get this button a little bit more down, and we want to scale it up a bit too. So we'll grab this here and we'll apply this inside of the actual, yep, scaled up. If we don't want the font to be bold too, and that's fine. And we'll apply a margin bottom to be like 5. Now, maybe I want to flex this to the right. It'd be like, okay, just click it here and sort of adjust the style how I like. But I'll keep it like this as well. And then we want to bold the actual headline. Grab this. -5. And where we have this. Now, this call to action may or may not work. It depends on the person. Statistically, on average, though, if you have a good piece of copy as your landing, it will convert if it is interesting to who you're trying to target. So depending on what business you apply for, say you're applying for a startup that needs someone that's good at data science or whatever, have a title that, as the copy stay, like have maybe the copy state that like you need data science for X reason, or the copy could be like, did you know that so and so fact? It's all up to you to figure that out. Copywriting can take years to learn. I'm still trying to learn copywriting myself. If I reference my site here that I have, so I'm trying to figure out like, okay, what copy is going to work, what copy doesn't work, sort of what speaks to a B2B kind of relationship. Because you as a developer, you are a business in a sense. You provide a service, and then company just pays you for your services and whatever added benefits there are with that as well. So you're not talking to strictly a person, you're talking to the whole organization or business. So you need to provide like what your skills are, what you real value you can provide, not fake value like, oh, I attend work on time. That's expected. You need to provide real value, as into, I know this. I know how you can increase your numbers by 20% or so. Because either you've had previous experience or you found something out, break like leading edge knowledge or something. But I don't expect that from junior developers. Sort of, you have to provide a value in a sense that you are going to be a quality employee. You're looking to actually improve. And if you do have experience, okay, how can you increase my margin? And just a reference from my site as well, I feel like if you are a front-end developer, you should definitely try to get into design and such. Whereas, all right, you can make these types of SVG graphics that scale easily for mobile or wherever. You can do animations as well. And that takes time to learn all of this. Particularly, it took me quite a long time, like 8 months or so, to get providing RIP. I don't know. We'll have to see about that later. But it takes time to know, okay, what looks good, what's going to work for your site, or whatever. And once you have that skill, you can market that skill. So if you are a front-end developer, you can then become a unicorn, as they say in the space. Whereas you can do the design and you can do the front-end development for the animations, the layouts, or whatever. And that makes you highly sought after for, say, a startup or a smaller company that will pay you for that, so because they don't have to pay for an extra employee. So the more skills you tack on that you are solid at, the more value you gain for different types of businesses. And you have to understand that, because you yourself are one person that has the mentality to say, like, oh, this needs to be done and I know how to do it, and you don't have to communicate that. And what the real cost of communication is time, because you have to go make sure they know what's happening, and then you have to be on the same page as them, and they have to agree, like, oh yeah, I can do that, or I can't. They have to go learn it if not. That's what you have to look at, actually. As a junior, the more value you can provide, the better, because then we're not just paying you for one thing, we're paying for you for all of these. So we don't have to hire someone extra, and then they have to have benefits or whatever. And then taking on an employee costs lots of time and effort, because, okay, if they're bad, how can we get rid of them? Because there's legal issues and such. So if you can do it yourself, that's so much more value for the business, and they will pay you for that. Particularly, are we running up on the end of time here? I think so. I will take questions through the Discord chat, so it's saved there for sure, because Zoom won't save it.
Yeah. So we have to end at. What is it? Yeah, 3:30 p.m. So yeah, does anybody have any questions? That would be a great time to ask.
As well, for anyone that's looking at, okay, I've built my website or whatever, and I want to host it, you guys could come to my blog over here, and you can click on this hosting web apps with Nginx. Same thing works for websites. It's all the same stuff at the end of the day. But you can go through this guide, and it'll give you the step-by-step as to, okay, how do I install and configure Nginx to run my site, and then get HTTPS working for that site as well. It doesn't cover anything worth getting a domain, getting your domain registered and connected to your VM or whatever, but this will get you after that point. And if you're looking to just do it without kind of VM setup or whatever, you go to Netlify, and then what this company and /service provides you is a super easy hosting option, and free as well, for your site. And it will do Vue, Angular, React, and it will compile that for you. This won't work for a base Nginx project. I'm pretty sure you need to build the Nginx project itself, and then it will host it. I had never worked particularly with Netlify and Next.js. If I said Nginx, my bad. It's Next.js. But if it's a straight React project, this is great for it. It will auto build it. And if not, you can use this VM option.
Okay. Great work, Kyle. That was pretty awesome. Yeah, I really liked how you showed us going through coding, just kind of like from the very beginning of the project, and how to use Tailwind. I think that's like a super useful beginner tool, especially even just to create anything in general. So yeah, thank you very much for running this workshop at our hackathon.
Yeah, no problem.
Not to run away.